Joining us now is Yvonne Orji with stories trending around the world. Hello, Yvonne.
Hello, Dr. Bati. Good morning, Doctor. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good morning,
Good morning,
Adesua. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
And Rufai, don't worry, I've not forgotten about you. How are you this morning?
Morning. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good.
We know you're doing well ad infinitum, so there's no point putting in there again.
Good morning to you two viewers, and Barka de Sallah to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. Now, owing to disruptions brought about by the coronavirus pandemic, to celebrate the holiday, only about 1,000 people will perform the annual Islamic rites this year. The annual Hajj pilgrimage in the Muslim city of Mecca has started under restrictions that have prevented millions from attending. In wishing all Muslims a safe and happy Eid, President Muhammadu Buhari has called on Nigerians to observe COVID-19 protocols as they mark the occasion. Where small groups choose to hold the Eid together, face masks are absolutely necessary, same as social distancing. They have also advised that such prayers should be held outdoors, while worshippers are encouraged to bring their own mats. Also, as part of efforts to stop the spread of the pandemic and flatten the curve, the president says he would not be receiving visitors on Salah homage. Once again, Barka de Sallah to all our Muslim brothers and sisters.
Well, I like the comparison you're trying to draw from Saudi Arabia, which is regarded as the, motherland of the religion.
Exactly.
For the Hajj, initially it was cancelled, but as things began to progress, they decided, okay, we can just scale back. Normally they'll receive around 2 million pilgrims. Now they're doing just 10,000, and you can see that they're even able to space
1,000 actually.
No, it's 10,000.
10,000. No, it's 10,000. It's 10,000.
Today you have 1,000 persons at the
Yes.
Kaaba.
And be able to scale back, and you can see from the videos we've seen from Mecca there, face masks are one, social distancing adhered to. We have to think about life before we can celebrate.
Yeah.
And it's the same message President Muhammadu Buhari is trying to pass. It's the same message the Presidential Task Force has also tried to pass, that, beyond the celebrations of today, life is important.
Exactly.
And, COVID is real.
Well, I think we should all just learn from the decision that has been taken in Saudi Arabia, and that decision was taken in June, a whole month ago, when it was made very clear that only persons within Saudi Arabia will be allowed to observe the Hajj, including foreigners that are living in Saudi Arabia, but that international visitors will not be allowed. Now, and then there were guidelines given. First, whoever is taking part in the Hajj from any part of Saudi Arabia will be quarantined before and after. And of course, you can see from that video there that the use of face mask is also compulsory. Yeah. Now, if that can happen in Saudi Arabia, the religious homeland for Muslims, then of course other countries should just take a cue from there. Again, as a Muslim, you are required to do the Hajj, to go on pilgrimage at least once in a lifetime. It's only here in Nigeria, I guess, that some people would rather like to go about twice a year. They will go, for the pilgrimage. They will also go for Umrah. Some people will even say, oh, they are off to Saudi Arabia to go and pray. But what the religion says is that once is enough. Now, this is a special season, the season of COVID-19, and it's good that the Nigerian government is offering the same advice. However, some states have even gone ahead to say, look, there should be no congregational prayers, like Ogun State, for example. Yeah. Ogun State plans to reopen religious places of worship, but the governor, while receiving the newly appointed chief imam of Ogun State, of Abeokuta, made it clear that, look, people should pray at home so that we don't have any further spread of the virus. So that's where we are, and it's good. You are wishing Muslim viewers Barka de Sallah. But of course, the festival is not only for Muslims, because you know that this is a season when we share fellowship and brotherhood with the Muslim Ummah. And I'm looking forward to getting...
Ram meat. Meat.
You said it.
Yes.
You said it.
All the round meat,
Please, can you chime in here?
It's all of
What do
us.
you think observing the COVID-19 regulations while observing this holiday as well?
I mean, it's quite interesting because of the COVID-19 pandemic that Mecca has now become a Mecca of some sort now, that a lot of people can't congregate in Mecca any longer, you know, or they can congregate, but they have to observe strict social distancing. Normally about 2.5 million people will be there, and I hear less than 10,000. I mean, I think less than 1,000 will go into Kaaba, and less than 10,000 will have that, and they're very strict measures, and it just shows that we need to take precaution. And I like the twist at which you gave it, and also to sound that note of wonder, let's just stay off. Because during a Tunuawe, we violated that law a lot. You need to see the way people were crowded in some places, and they didn't take, you know, due cognizance to that law during the end of the fast, during the month of Ramadan. So it is time for all of us to take very strong precaution, and let's see how it will be enforced this time, because I wasn't too happy after the fast, the celebration and all of that. There was social distance being thrown away, and most importantly, to everybody all over the world, I pray that the blessings and the peace this season, most importantly, and the fellowship and the camaraderie this season brings will be for all of us, because it's much needed in the world today. And like they say, Islam is a religion of peace, and I pray that the peace will be in our households and be with us and help us fight banditry and some other evil vices we do not want. In the name of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Thank you so much.
Talking about Ram meat, you
Yes.
know, another major festival around this period is what they have in Ijebuland rather, what they call Ojudi Oba. I understand that the Ojudi Oba for this year has been postponed. And I think that that's a commendable move by the traditional council in Ijebu, although many people will miss it very dearly, because it's usually a high point for many Muslims and even Christians who join in the festivity. In Saudi Arabia, of course, the decision that has been taken, I think, again, as we have observed, is in order. Saudi Arabia has in excess of about 270,000 cases, and one of the highest death rates in the Middle East, over 3,000. You know, so if you bring international visitors coming from all kinds of COVID-19 hotspots, it will just further escalate the situation.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Well, our next story is a mouthful, so buckle up. The bosses of America's biggest tech firms have been accused of being emperors and cyber barons in a marathon 5-hour congressional hearing. U.S. lawmakers grilled Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Tim Cook of Apple, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, and Sundar Pichai of Google in a heavily politicized and combative session, which moved far beyond its original scope of alleged anti-competitive practices. The questions were cleanly split along political lines, with Democrats accusing the four of dominating markets, crushing smaller competitors, and unfairly exploiting user data to enrich themselves, while Republicans argue that they were using their power to silence right-wing voices and undermine the U.S. democracy. For over a year, top lawmakers in Congress have been investigating the four tech giants to determine whether the companies have abused their power and dominance in the online marketplace. The event marked the culmination of that process and is the biggest hearing of its kind since Microsoft's Bill Gates went to Washington in 1998. Now, here are the big takeaways from the event. Of the four CEOs at the hearing, Bezos' testimony was arguably the most highly anticipated, as the world's richest person had never appeared before the Congress. The Amazon CEO acknowledged that his company may have improperly used third-party seller data to inform its own product decisions and direct proof of the Congress' key concern over the company's approach to competition. Now, Facebook's billion-dollar acquisition of Instagram comes under scrutiny as Mark Zuckerberg was confronted about internal company emails he sent in 2012 about buying Instagram. Here's what he had to say when U.S. Rep. Jerry Nadler asked him about it.
Mergers and acquisitions that buy off potential competitive threats violate the antitrust laws. In your own words, you purchased Instagram to neutralize a competitive threat. If this was an illegal merger at the time of the transaction, why shouldn't Instagram now be broken off into a separate company?
Well, Congressman, I think the FTC had all of these documents and reviewed this and unanimously voted at the time not to challenge the acquisition. I mean, I think with hindsight, it probably looks like obvious that Instagram would have reached the scale that it has today, but at the time, it was far from obvious. A lot of the competitors that they competed with in mobile sharing, including companies like Path, which were hot at the time and had great founders and entrepreneurs running them. Dave Moore and I worked closely with him. I mean, I don't even think Path exists today. It was not a guarantee that Instagram was going to succeed. The acquisition has done wildly well, largely because not just of the founders' talent, but because we invested heavily in building up the infrastructure and promoting it and working on security and working on a lot of things around this. And I think that this has been an American success story.
Well, thank you. Mr. Zuckerberg, you're making my point. In closing, Mr. Chairman, I want to end where I began. Facebook, by Mr. Zuckerberg's own admission and by the documents we have from the time, Facebook saw Instagram as a threat that could potentially siphon business away from Facebook. And so rather than compete with it, Facebook bought it. This is exactly the type of anti-competitive acquisition that the antitrust laws were designed to prevent. This should never have happened in the first place. It should never have been permitted to happen, and it cannot happen again. I yield back.
Now, that was a very, very grueling panel there. Well, first of all, I have to say that they had to do it virtually, of course, because of COVID-19. However, there are a lot of concerns here. Just these four men, after the pandemic, actually made $115 billion collectively. They came out of this pandemic, or they've come out of this pandemic stronger. And the U.S. Congress, they're scared that, these four people have so much access to data and wealth that they are basically willing to buy off their competitors. And it's something that they feel really threatened about. And, when we look at the way in the past they've used, third-party data, like Jay Westo said there, to kind of favor themselves. I mean, I do know Nigerian businesses that actually started on Amazon. And, before you know it, they have a very similar product up there. And before you know it, you can't compete anymore. And they've done that over and over again. So the question is, are these four men too powerful? Do they need to be cut down?
Well, that's the question that the Congress is trying to resolve. But when you look at the 5 hours of grilling yesterday, some people wonder if this was really about the consumers or it was about political grievances, as we saw so many political undertones play out yesterday. But the ultimate impact of all of this, almost 1 year, if not over 1 year, of this antitrust investigation the responsibility lies on the shoulder of the Congress, even though President Donald Trump threatened with that tweet, as usual, saying he's going to use executive orders. But I would like to see the interest of the consumers here. Are they too powerful? Well, we saw them yesterday feigning ignorance about their size and their importance, saying we're not even as big as you think we are.
Well, maybe we'll take a break, a short commercial break, and then when we return, we'll continue with that subject. We'll be right back. It's still The Morning Show. Welcome back to The Morning Show here on the Arise News channel. We're still on What's Trending with Sheitan Atigari. Well, Sheitan, you brought up the issue of the appearance of the CEOs of the tech Goliaths.
Yes.
Before Congress yesterday. I think that beyond the other points about violation of anti-competition laws, damage to the economy as alleged, and then, lack of patriotism, because there was also a point about collaboration with China and all of that. I think the questions to ask is as follows. That, session with Congress yesterday, what is likely to be the ultimate impact? What will come out of it? I mean, because we don't imagine that it was just an opportunity for, interaction. The first is, will Congress, at the end of this, come up with stronger regulation or, penalties? Well, that's a possibility. But to arrive at that point, there must be a consensus in Congress between the Democrats and the Republicans. Because if you look at the Democrats, they were very strong on the issue of, antitrust laws and, fair practice and all of that. Whereas the Republicans were more concerned about how the tech giants seem to block anti-conservative views. They seem, many of them seem to hold the position that bigness is not a liability. And indeed, in business, I don't think bigness should be a liability. I mean, those 4 tech Goliaths taken together account for about $5 trillion within the American economy. They create opportunities, even if there was concern about whether those workers were majorly Americans or the Chinese. But all 4 of them insisted on patriotism. The other question that was raised in the morning when Michael Wilson brought this up was whether there will be a breakup of those companies. Well, that's likely to be a very cumbersome process. But if there is going to be a breakup, I don't think it's Congress that will do that. It will be the responsibility of the Department of Justice. And the Department of Justice has also been looking at this for more than a year. Now, is this political? Is this about Donald Trump? Because there seems to be some kind of coincidence. President Trump complaining about the tech giants, and at the same time, Congress launching an investigation. President Trump saying that he will issue executive order if Congress does not do what it has to do. He's probably just maybe, just expressing an opinion because he cannot force Congress, I guess, to do anything. But Congress on its own, if there is consensus, can further strengthen the regulations.
Definitely. Rufai, if you can chime in here, these 4 tech giants, do you think that these companies should be broken up?
If you break them up, you make them bigger. I think there's an Yoruba word for it. The Yoruba word calls it ekiode. Ekiode means big market. You can't break a big market. If you break a big market, they will be 5 times bigger. It's happened before. Yesterday, I cited the case of Standard Oil. A journalist even started the fight for Standard Oil. I think EID-EL-KABIR. They finally broke Standard Oil into Standard Oil across all the states in America. What happened? Rockefeller, that day they broke Standard Oil, Rockefeller became the first billionaire in human history. So don't break them up. At first, what you need to understand is this is a political power play going on. Mr. Trump, that I said he wants to sign an executive order, ask him how much he has benefited from America. Mr. Trump, when he built his first building in '79, got a tax break of 41 years. Even on Trump Tower, for the next 40 years, I'm not sure he's paid taxes on that. So if you want to start antitrust, were there no other real estate companies that were building as at that time? But Donald Trump had lawyers like Roy Cohn to go with him to twist the New York City Department and get a tax break of over 40 years. So everybody does this. Businesses will grow. What is most important is how we can ensure that these businesses impact more the lives of the citizen, and most importantly, you can still have some level of regulations, but not over-the-top regulations. I mean, these people have succeeded. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. He's thrived because he's seen a country that has given him all the opportunities to grow. All these men you are seeing are people that have seen an opportunity to grow. What America should do is to strengthen these companies even more to be able to fight the incursion of China. There's a company called ByteDance. ByteDance are the owners of TikTok. TikTok is almost taking over the world now. Some countries are banning TikTok. Why can't America help its own companies too to be able to still keep the data within their home by improving the lot of the likes of Facebook and the likes? Because these are all $1 trillion companies. Can you break up a $1 trillion company overnight? If you break up these 4 companies, all of them are over 1 trillion. The American economy is 17 trillion. These 4 guys or 5 guys you see alone, take 5 trillion out of the America, they are worth 5 trillion in terms of their companies. So we remove 5 trillion from the remaining number of 17, 18 trillion America has as a GDP. You will see the importance of this guy. Support them. I'm not saying don't regulate them when they give about. Support them, but you can't break them, because if you break them, they will become even bigger than the Greek miniature. So please be with them. Be with them on this.
Thank you so much, Rufai. Now, moving on to our next story, the 2020 Primetime Emmy nominations are in, and this year, Emmy voters came up with a roster of selections as diverse and eclectic as the current face of television, reaching out to new shows and services, nominating numerous people of color, and expanding the tent to include genres that have frequently been overlooked. However, what's making the round is the 3 Hollywood actors of Nigerian descent, Yvonne Orji from Insecure, Uzo Aduba from Mrs. America, and Jovan Adepo from Watchmen, who all got nominated. Now, like any true Nigerian, after the announcement, Yvonne shared the news with her parents. The star FaceTimed them to share the news, and their reaction was priceless. Let's take a look.
Mommy, Daddy, what a good news. I just got nominated for an Emmy.
Got nominated for Emmy. Congratulations. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Emmy, not even the little ones.
No. Not even the little ones. I don't know which ones the little ones are, but yes, no, not the little ones, the big one.
When is this next year, yeah?
No, oh no, not September.
We can't come. Chai, it's too soon.
Issa got nominated, and the show got nominated as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are going to win something. Oh, God.
In the name of Jesus.
Oh, you guys are going to win something. Oh, Yvonne, I'm really happy for that team. I mean, HBO will celebrate.
In fact. Yvonne,
we are proud of you.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you.
Oh, mommy, Ebezina.
Oh, madam, sir. I'm sick and foggy.
Wow. That actually brought a tear to my eye, and I've watched that video before. I mean, that video went viral as soon as she posted it, and it just makes me so proud of her. And, you know, the Emmys are such a big deal. I personally grew up watching the Emmys. It's such a big show in the United States. So to just see how well represented, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people watch Insecure as well. The show has done really well, put her on the map. She now has her own stand-up comedy show on HBO called Mama, I Made It. I mean, she was here on the morning show a few months ago.
She was here in January, first week of January.
First week of January, while she was filming that comedy show.
Well, we're all proud of her. Congratulations. We do hope that she does go ahead eventually to win. Very typical of Nigerian parents. I was waiting for the dancing part and the prayer part, you know. But I also felt their pain, the fact that they will not be able or might not be able to travel to go and be with her during those proud moments.
Well, I mean, the nomination is for Outstanding Supporting Actor as Molly in Insecure. So congratulations to her. She acted in Mama, I Made It. So that video is Mama, Papa, I Made It. And we hope and pray that she will make it indeed eventually.
Yes, thank you.
Well, Shaitan, that's all we'll be able to take.
All right,
Thank you very much.
See you tomorrow.
Yes.